she's been fighting so hard. We're ranked number 40. Let's bring in Valuetainment founder Patrick Bet-David. Patrick, great to have you here. I mean, the numbers tell the story. I wonder, for all these people that are out there protesting, are they really remote workers who showed up? Just to throw that in there.
It's interesting you said, by the way, it's great to be on with you folks here, but 6%, right? We're talking 6% of our 2 million employees that work for the government actually go to the office. So when President Trump said, we'll give you a plan 8 months, listen, you don't want to come back, no problem, here's an allowance for you. 8 months later, you got to figure out in the free market how it's going to work. It is what it is. I love that. But let's stay on this here. Here's my question for you. So why is it that they are all about hiring more IRS agents to audit you? Whoever's watching this, they want to audit you. They want to find that if you didn't pay $600 in taxes, they want to come and collect it from you. Whoever's watching this right now, but God forbid we audit the wasted expenditure the government has. Oh, no, no, no. We are politicians. We are very good people. We are people that we know what we're doing because we got this fancy degree, but we should audit the people because the people out there are not paying their fair share. What if the government's got a lot of wasted money? What if the government's doing a lot of stuff that we don't know anything about? And by the way, they started off with the USAID. Once they get into, and that was only a $40, $50 billion budget, what are they going to do when it gets into DHS? And what is it going to happen when we get into Medicare, Medicaid? Money's being funneled all over the place. Accountability is on its way, and the American people are ecstatic.
Patrick, and that's what that hearing was about today. And you had Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was just a perfectly behaved little peach. Because all of the Republicans just sat back and let these Democrats reveal themselves. That's what this hearing was about. It was about the unemployment fraud. It was about the pandemic fraud. It was about welfare fraud. It was about Medicaid fraud. And listening to these individuals who testified go through the level of fraud. There was one woman testifying on welfare fraud. She said that bureaucrats with a political, who promote their own political agendas routinely say that there's less than 1% fraud in SNAP or food stamps, and disregard for for integrity, that they only spend less than 1/20th of 1% of SNAP's budget on fraud prevention, detection, and prosecution, that they intentionally ignore it and don't look at it and lie about it because they don't want their budgets to be cut. It's astonishing.
Well, guess what? If they're that confident that they're not doing anything wrong, then this is going to increase their level of credibility once we find that they did everything right. What are they worried about? You don't have anything to worry about. When you do the right thing, let them audit you. Let them take a look. Let them go through your finances. Let them go through what you're doing. It's totally fine. I mean, when we were selling our business, I'll never forget, there's something you do. It's called quality of earnings, where the other company gets to hire a big accounting firm. You spend a few $100,000. They come in for 8 weeks and they go through everything on your company, because when you say we have this much profits we make every year, the buyer says, okay, if this is really your profits, this is the value we're willing to pay for your business. Here's $250 million, but we have to first check to see if the quality of the earnings is accurate. No problem, it is. Boom. 8 weeks later, they come back and they say, well, guess what? It's exactly what you said, so that is the value we're going to give you. If they're this confident that they're not manipulating, that they're very organized, that they're on top of it, that they're doing everything right, they should be fully supporting an audit, because it's going to validate that they're doing something right. But some tells the American people that that's not what's happening. These folks have been taking advantage of the system, and they're frightened, and I mean frightened, of accountability.
Yeah, that explains the performative politics. You know, Patrick, I want to get your reaction to this. Bernie Sanders, my favorite communist in government, throwing shade at DOGE.
The oligarchs and the billionaires want to do is cut program after program, including education, in order to give massive tax breaks to the very richest people in this country. Our message to them is simple. You are not going to give a dime in tax breaks to the richest people in this country.
Unbelievable, Dagan.
Just your reaction to that, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that the president's going after billionaires. I have friends that have a lot of money that are like, wait a minute, listen, I think Trump's about to tax us in ways that maybe, is different than it was going to be there. So President Trump's not holding back from going back after anybody. However, let's just kind of process what he's saying. What is he really worried about? I mean, he is part of an organization and a political party, the Democratic Party, that ousted him, that got rid of him, that told him, hey, step aside, Bernie. You're not part of the establishment Democrat. Hillary's the candidate. Step aside. We don't believe in democracy. She's our queen. You're going to go out there and do whatever we tell you to do. You step aside, Bernie. And then when it comes on to 2024, Biden, step aside. Nancy Pelosi told you, step aside. Kamala Harris is the one that's going to come and do the job, and step aside. Look, they have lost so many millions of people. I'm convinced the 2024 election is going to happen to the Democrats the same way the African-American vote in 1964 after the Barry Goldwater event and Lyndon Johnson, where it went from 1960, only 64% of African Americans voted for the Democratic Party. 4 years later, it went to 92%. Republicans lost the black vote in 1964, and it hasn't changed since then. I have a feeling Democrats lost millions of voters to the other side, and it ain't coming back for a long time.
And we got to keep them there so they can get back to their American dream. Patrick Bet-David, thank you.